I always say that I'm the biggest threat to our company as the top leader. There's also this idea that we are the biggest cap on what is possible.
Mhm.
That if everything flows through us, if everything has to go across my desk, if I have to be across every decision and every task that gets checked, there's a very real cap to what the organization can accomplish. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in podcasting, Emily Gray Steele. Emily Gray Steele, it's 2025. What are we talking about today?
So Craig Groeschell brings us another quote today. Your potential isn't determined by what you do. Your potential is determined by the leaders you empower.
I love that so much. I always say that I'm the biggest threat to our company as the top leader. There's also this idea that we are the biggest cap on what is possible.
Mhm.
That if everything flows through us, if everything has to go across my desk, if I have to be across every decision and every task that gets checked, there's a very real cap to what the organization can accomplish.
Mhm.
And this is true of most organizations. And so it's not really determined by what we can get done in our individual capacity unless we can empower other people. That's where it starts to change.
Right.
And the empowering people part is tough, right? It is, I will acknowledge, a messy process because I've seen leaders turn over things and empower, but then go, oh, that didn't go exactly like I wanted, so I'm going to pull it back.
Take it back. Yeah.
Rather than having a discussion of, okay, I'm going to keep you empowered, you're going to move forward, but here's some things to think about. We just kind of yank it back and say, well, now I've got to do that, right?
Mhm.
Empowering people is the key to this, but it's incredibly hard to do.
Well, I think a big misstep in this process is when you give it to somebody and then you think you've departed all of the knowledge they need to do it correctly.
Yes.
And then assume that means they're going to get it right the first time.
You know, it's really funny you say that because one of the things we talk about all the time is the goal of a lot of what you do in personal development is not that you're really good at this tomorrow. The goal is that you're really good at this a year from now, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, that you're really, really great at it, right? That long-term thing of, hey, I'm going to empower you with this. I'm going to delegate this to you, give you everything you need, but also I'm not expecting you to do it perfectly the first time.
Right.
The goal is that 6 months from now, we don't even have to talk about it. You've just got it. A year from now, I don't even think about it anymore.
It's not, I have all my collected years of knowledge have passed on to you for one task.
Yes.
Do that task correctly the first time. Like that's impossible.
That is such a great point that we have to remember that it is a process. It's not a checkbox, right? I think the other thing, we talk all the time about the picture of the person holding the boulder up. That boulder, there is only so much weight we can support as a leader. Yeah. And we have been taught over and over again by society that the bigger the boulder, the more successful we are because we're taught that that is success.
Right. Look how impressive.
Look how impressive the size of my boulder, right?
Yes.
What we're really saying is look how impressive my burnout is because that is not a picture of success. It is a picture of burnout. And so if we organizationally, if we're just taking on all that weight, there is a limit to the capacity and there's a breaking point that's coming for us if that happens. And part of the goal of empowering others is they get to bear some of that weight, that it is not just on us, that same boulder, there could be 50 hands on that boulder, not 2.
There's a greater purpose than me being the best, than me doing this the best.
The hero that can do everything, right? Because we're not really capable of that sustainably.
Right.
We're capable of it for short periods.
Right.
And that's helpful sometimes and necessary, but it is not sustainable.
Yeah, this isn't us saying you can't do hard things or that it's impossible to do that. We get that it's possible for a short amount of time.
Yes.
But eventually it's not sustainable.
I can sprint for a short amount of time, a very short amount of time. Let's be very clear on that. But I can sprint for a short amount of time. I can't sprint for very long. And I can't bear that unlimited weight very long.
Right.
And the key to fixing it is not, I've got to make more capacity. Just this magic well inside me has got to increase. It is ultimately we have to empower other people.
Right, because we're all wildly capable people. We just have to know how much energy we have and be able to put that in the best spot. And sometimes that's by empowering people and not by trying to do it all on our own.
That's it. And it's really hard. Like we said, it's a hard process. And so we do it badly. And so we go, well, that'll never work. And we just pull it back and
I quit.
Increase the weight of that boulder. It's easier for me to hold up the boulder because it's familiar than it is to try to teach y'all to do this. And I think that's the hardest part, that we have limits. We're going to break.
Yeah, we just give up on it.
You know, we talk a lot about this idea that there is a breaking point out there for all of us. It exists for you, for me, for John. I know John has unlimited capacity, but everybody else, there's a breaking point, right? John is super John. There's a breaking point for all of us. And ultimately, it's out there. It exists. How close it is to us is determined by our rhythms. It's determined by how much we involve other people. And so as that leader, you're holding up that boulder by yourself. That breaking point is closer and closer day by day.
Right.
Because it's not sustainable. As we empower people, even clumsily at first, as we empower more people, they put their hands on that boulder, they start to support it with us.
Yeah.
Now it becomes sustainable. That breaking point is further and further and further away.
Right. Well, and as you're teaching people new skills and the ability to do it on their own, then you are also practicing and teaching yourself how to empower other people. That's also a skill you get to learn. So
yeah, you're learning it, you're passing it down to them so they can learn to empower. That's a really good point. That is super helpful. Leaders, let's talk next steps. Do you feel alone? Do you feel like you are the only person under that boulder, and that you can't necessarily, you're not going to have the capacity to do this forever? You see the breaking point. It is within view of you, and it's getting closer and closer. Empowering your people is the only way to increase that capacity. This quote perfectly sums this up. Your potential isn't determined by what you do. Your potential is determined by the leaders you empower. They're going to help you have the capacity to multiply your impact, multiply the good you could do, multiply your profitability, multiply all the good side effects of your organization. But it's going to require empowerment. How do you help them do that? It is not going to be quick. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a process to say, hey, the goal is that a year from now, I don't even have to think about this thing I'm empowering you to do anymore. That's the goal, not that they're perfect at it tomorrow. I love this conversation. If people want to send us questions or send us quotes that we can dissect, where do they send that to?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us online, where we are putting out so much leadership content to help leaders grow in this new year, where do they find that?
@forwardpartner.
@forwardpartner. Perfect. Thank you so much for this conversation. John, also welcome to 2025. This is weird because we're recording this in August 2024, but this is how it works, okay? Welcome to 2025, John. You're a time traveler now. Thank you for producing. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with our shenanigans. We have so much fun doing this show. And part of why we love it is because it has a positive impact and we can have fun at the same time. So thank you for being a part of that journey. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.